I'm LaRie.
And I'm Nick B.
And this is Dirty Roses Podcast, where two girls from the City of Roses discuss love, lust, and perception.
And we got two very different perspectives.
That's right, because my girl Nick B is a long-term habitual dater.
Oh, for real? That's what we're doing?
I mean, girl, it's facts.
Okay, you're right. And my girl LaRie was tied down and now newly single and don't know a thing about dating.
Dang, well, here we are taking our friends' dating stories
and having real life conversations.
Dirty Roses Podcast starts now. Hey, I'm LaRie.
And I'm Nick B.
And welcome to Dirty Roses Podcast. Today's episode is dating for gifts. Now, we talk about
dating for gifts.
Yes, dating for gifts, dating for benefits, perks, all the things that come along with somebody giving you something and you dating that person solely for that reason or being the person on the other end, right? So we have talked about this at our previous episode where we said that each episode we're going to share a little story, a little scenario that we've heard from a friend or that we witnessed or whatever, and that is how we got our topic. So the first scenario is girl meets guy and girl start talking. I'm not going to call it dating because it really wasn't dating. They were talking. They didn't go places publicly. I would say that. Yeah, that's a whole.
What
nother,
is that?
That's a
what
whole
is that?
Topic. Girl, honestly, I don't know. If you can't show me off, then I don't want to be there. But unless I'm the one hiding it. Yeah, that's
okay. We'll dive into that. We'll dive into
next
that
episode. So yes, so they're talking. The holiday, she starts kind of giving gifts because she's like a person who is a giver, right? So she likes to give gifts. So she's doing nice things.
That's her love language.
That's her love language. Well, her love language is gifting. I don't know if she likes to receive gifts. She might. I don't know. But in this scenario, she's the giver, right? So she's giving like little things. Like if she notices that he says something, then she'll pop up with something or whatever, right? So this is like their dynamic. Holidays are coming up, okay? So they give each other a little Christmas list. They're like, this is what I want. This is what I want. Now, note, I know this scenario, specifically his list was very expensive. And her list was kind of like reasonable price type stuff. So they have different expectations of what the gifts would be. And was
her sentimental and his monetary?
I'm thinking about the scenario and I don't know for sure. I think, well, here, I'll finish the scenario and maybe that'll explain what it is, right? So, anyways, they exchanged the lists. A few days, like maybe like a week or so before Christmas, he ends up going to her house to kind of hang out, kick it, whatever. So since he's there, she gives him his gift early. So he gets the gift, everything's cool. A few days before Christmas, they get into, and I use air quotes, an argument, and they stop talking. And they don't start speaking again until after the holidays are over. Now that's in January and they're back on good terms, but he never gave her the gift because they weren't talking at the time, so she didn't get the gift. Now we're entering Valentine's Day. I know, because
did she give him the gift before the argument?
He came to her house before Christmas, so since he was there, she went ahead and gave him the gift because she was so excited. So he got his gift. She never got hers. But from what I understand, she took it with stride because, they weren't speaking. She pissed him off in some kind of way and they weren't speaking, right? So she took that internally. It was her fault. I use air quotes again. And they stopped talking. So Valentine's coming up, same situation. They don't really exchange lists because you don't really exchange lists for Valentine's Day. But she did get him something. He got it. They stopped talking. She never got a gift. And
there's a pattern.
This pattern continues. His birthday comes. She gives him a big birthday gift. It's very nice. He does not include her in his birthday plans. Again, remember we talked about earlier, they don't date because they don't go places publicly. So it's a whole nother topic. But her birthday comes around. They stop talking. Christmas is now coming back around again. We're back in this cycle. Now, note, this is going on for several years. And that's, again, another discussion because how do you let that go on for that long? But the scenario is he gets the gifts. They stop talking. He never gives her gifts. I think over the course of a few years, he's given her a few gifts probably to appease her and make her feel good. But the general synopsis and like the consensus is that she didn't get many gifts over the course of several years. And he got gifts every turn, chance that they got. And because his taste is kind of exquisite, I would say, he got really nice spendy gifts. Right?
Ooh.
So that's the first scenario. We're gonna pause on that one. Second scenario is girl meets guy. She's not super interested in him. He offers to take her out on a date. She's not interested, A, body type, and because he has a really high pitched voice. Like he speaks in falsetto. And this was one of the topics that I posted on my personal page because I'm like, how do you, I don't know if I could do that. Like some people don't care and they can go personality wise. But to me, the audio of your voice and your aura.
Some people like men that talk like this. I
can't, man. No. Can you imagine being in bed with somebody that's like louder and high pitched than you?
It would definitely dry me up.
Who's oohing and ahhing in the high pitched voice, me or you? Like
it would dry me up. I
would feel like we're bumping coochies. Like at that point, we're bumping coochies at that point. You can't. Ooh. I can't. Anyways, long story long. So she's not interested for these reasons. However, he offers to take her on a date. She's hungry, so she goes. They never talk again. So, and we see this scenario play out all the time. They talk about it on social media. There's TikToks, all those things where women go on dates for food. They're saying that it's just women. I don't know if it's just women, but the social media has presented that it's just women that go on dates for food. We get offered to go on dates all the time, so why not go if you're hungry and order food? There's also scenarios where women go on these dates and try to order food for their kids and have the man pay for it. I saw a video. Yeah, the woman was she had to order steaks. Bruh, she tried to order 3 steaks, 1 for her and 2 for her kids. And he was like, I'm not paying for that. And they were arguing and it was on video. So in this, we're talking about people who date for gifts, date for the benefits, date for the perks. We have 2 different scenarios where the guy's getting the gifts and another scenario where the woman got a meal or the gift, right? So have you yourself ever been in a situation where you were the gift giver or that you were dating somebody because you had some good perks with it?
Interesting. So yes and no. I think I've been in that situation, but not going into it for that reason. So I remember when I was dating someone, I want to say back in the early 2000s, I hadn't yet graduated. And there was this guy that I knew was interested in me. And he just literally wasn't physically my type.
Okay.
And I was trying to look beyond that, saying, hey, there's more to a person than just outward appearance.
Right.
And trying to be shallow. So for me, knowing that he was interested in me, I was single and trying to kind of step outside of my box of what I typically date. I was like, well, let's give it a go. What could hurt me from simply going through the acts of dating? It's not a commitment. It's just dating. And so, occasionally we would hang out. He'd come over. We'd watch movies. It was actually more physical. And I know for me, it wasn't physical because I was having a hard time seeing him romantically. It was a struggle for me.
Gotcha.
But after about 2-3 months of hanging out, going to Applebee's level type dates, nothing. We're not talking about anything where he's spending an exorbitant amount of money here. It's getting close to Christmas. It's actually getting close to when I'm graduating, and it's getting cold out. And he offers to buy me this jacket that I had been eyeing, and he knew I wanted it. And I was like, it was not in my budget for that time period. And he got it for me. And I knew that in him buying me this jacket, that it came with levels of expectation. We were now, he wanting to move things more out of a friend zone into more of a let's date zone. And I knew that in accepting this jacket, that I was kind of agreeing to terms of a contract, so to say. And so I accepted the jacket because I wanted it. And then he kind of started wanting to get romantic, wanting to get intimate. And I was just so turned off by him. Not cute, shorter than me, which was important to me at that time. He kind of had like a sloppy mouth.
Like you didn't. What's a sloppy mouth? Hold on. We got to backtrack. So I know we talked about gifts, but what the hell is a sloppy mouth? Because a sloppy mouth sounds kind of enticing in certain areas. I'm just not sure what that is.
It just looked like he always had a puddle of drool under his bottom lip. It was always moist.
Wait,
a little dribble in the corner.
Okay, so even we're talking about y'all were in the friend.
I told you I didn't find him physically attractive.
But
I said
even then, even as a friend, going out. Like
I should have given him a napkin or something.
If you were juicy mouthed, I think that
it was hella juicy mouthed.
I could not eat with you. I could not. Like
Yo, it was tough. You just keep your head down and you focus on that burger. You know what I'm saying? You don't look him directly in the mouth.
So you weren't even a good friend to him. You were just
I was young. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna lie. There's things in my past.
So dating outside the box for you means juicy mouthedness, short people who are ugly. That's what I'm gathering. So if you're tall, dry mouthed, and mildly cute, it's okay. Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. I think you're right. But the moral of this story is that I accepted this jacket knowing that I was not interested in him, and knowing that he assumed in me taking it that we were taking our relationship to another level. Needless to say, come time of my graduation, which is only like a week after he gave me this jacket, I did not invite him to my graduation, where he knew that my family was coming in from out of town. And
that's huge.
And we ended up going after graduation to like this little nightclub situation to kick it, to party, to hang out. And I invited friends and family to come out, and he showed up and was just witnessing me with other guys just dancing in his coat. And
in his coat. Okay, so wait, I took
the coat there.
This is a really great story. So I got questions. So did he ping your location? How did he know where you were at, or was it because it's a small town and you only have so many places to go?
There's only but so many places to go. And I think that the buzz of graduation time, it was sort of like, this is where most people are going to be tonight.
Gotcha. Okay, because I was concerned that maybe he had a locator in the coat. And there was
this is back in the early 2000s, and technology was a little shaky back then.
A low jack on your coat?
No. No, but he definitely showed up, and he definitely saw me getting it all the way in on the dance floor with, just this tall guy who I had been also friends with for some time.
Dry-mouthed guy.
Dry-mouthed tall guy. My type, evidently. And so I know I broke his heart, and I had to apologize. And that was actually the last I saw from him. I don't know if he has social media to this day, but I've never ran across him on anything. We've never chopped it up, talked about this. I ghosted him. And
do you still have the coat?
No, of course not. Of course not. It was actually a cheap coat.
Oh God, Lord! All this juicy mouthiness for a cheap coat, girl.
The cheap coat was out of my budget. All right, and the cheap coat fell apart at least. Yes, it fell apart at least 2 years after I got it. And it was a winter coat,
like a Shein version store.
Yeah, it was like, you guys remember Deb?
Yeah, well, okay, so Deb is like I think that might be a regional thing. I don't know, but in Portland we had a store. It was like Rave. I don't know if Rave is in other states.
Rave? What's another good?
It was the polyester shirt.
Do you remember
dress.
Butterfly?
I don't remember Butterfly, but I know there's stores called Rainbow, there's City Trends, there's other stores that are similar in other states. It's all that.
It's that bracket.
Yes.
It's that bracket.
That's great.
Yeah. So that was the only guy.
You got a coat.
I did get a coat.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And I will say, I don't think I've ever dated, because I was married I was in a relationship for 21 years, so I didn't really date for gifts. But I do have friendships, or not, I would say friendships is a very loose term, but I would say that this topic can also span across non-intimate relationships, because you can have people in your circle who like to get gifts, and they are with you because of the perks of being your friend, or being around you, or being a part of your posse, or whatever, right? So I have the type of job where I have a lot of resources that are very beneficial to a lot of people, and I have a lot of plugs. I'm the plug. A lot of people call me the plug.
You are the plug.
I'm the plug. I can get you a ticket to a game or something, but yeah.
Are you aware of any scenario where someone is using you for your benefits? Like, you're aware, you're not oblivious.
So I'm not oblivious, and I know that. So I put up boundaries. That's my thing. Is once I realize that, because I'm a giver too, I do like to give, but I also like to receive. So if I start to notice that this is not reciprocated, and it's not even about the cost or the quality of the item, it's the thoughtfulness behind it. So to me, it's more of like, if you've put thought into giving me something, which means you have listened to things that I've said, things that I'm interested in, that you know me as a person, and you've thought of something that means something to me. I like those kinds of gifts. I do like some spendy gifts too. I got a Telfar bag, you know what I'm saying? But, that was a gift to myself though, I will say that. But
What'd you have to do for it?
I had to pay 2 for 1.
So stupid.
But I will say that I do know that I recognize when people come into my space and they try to be my friend or they try to be cool with me, but whenever they come around, it's always a need for something or they're always wanting something. And there's never an ask of, oh, what do you want or what do you need, or even just an offer of anything. So I recognize that. And recently in my single life now, I have had men who have presented as interested in me because of the perks. So they try to make me feel like they want me, even though they're not my type or they're not somebody that I'm even interested in. And I'm like, I don't even want this relationship with you. Like, if you need something, let me know. I can take you through the whole client process that we need to go through. Or if you need something, I'm good,
let me slide you this application.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we can do it. I'm a professional. I will do my job and I'll get the resource for you that you need. And if you need a plug, I don't mind plugging people every now and then. You ain't got to act like you interested in me because I'm not even remotely interested in you. So it's weird that people do that. But I recognize it pretty instantly, and I put some boundaries up around that because I just don't want people around me who only want me for something. So
would you ever go out with a guy that you're not interested in if he was presenting you with something you wanted?
So we cross over into those lines of, are we ladies of the night or are we? Because like that's an exchange. I mean, you're exchanging time and or physical whatever for a gift. Is that not similar to prostitution? Kind of like.
I mean, okay, so now to be very clear.
I mean, not saying that you was prostituting for that coat from...
No, absolutely. Okay, no, but now wait. Now I feel like we need to define what prostitution, what the windows, what the bracket, what the box is. Okay. Is prostitution only sexual favors in exchange for something you want? May that be money or dinner or a jacket?
Differentiating prostitutes and escorts and... gold diggers and like there's so many levels.
I mean, there's levels to this.
Kind of fit in the same category. I'm not calling.
I don't know if it did. Then if it did, would we have different names for it?
I mean, I feel like we do. We have prostitutes, we have escorts, we've got gold diggers, we got bad and bougie, we got all those things that people call each other. Like, I'm getting the bag. Like, there's
So then,
terms.
But then that doesn't mean that you are. If you're bad and bougie, if you're a gold digger, then that doesn't mean you're a prostitute. If we have different names and definitions for each level of obtaining what you want out of a relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are one or the other or none of the above. Or I don't know. I seriously, I think that prostitution only it did, but I think the prostitution. Specifically,
you got to be walking around outside with lace panties on and
exchanging sexual favors, even if you ain't walking around with lace panties outside of somebody's car.
But okay, now that because you could. I mean, but now that you say that, even in a marriage, like so, even in my marriage, like I got things as a gift because we had a great night one night, and I got a gift. Like,
did you solicit that? Okay, did you say I'm gonna put it down?
But there are some people who do it. They'd be like, and they will be in committed relationships with people, and they're not in the relationship for the gifts. But I've seen this with people. They'd be like, the girl or even whoever would be like, oh, I really want that, and the guy would be like, hey, you do this, and it could be their partner, and that might be the exchange, and it's funny, and and it's we're being colloquial about it, like it's funny, but it's technically, I mean, when you're talking about technicalities, it's technically the same thing. Technically.
So I will say this, and I don't know that I could say that I was the prostitute in this
because you didn't have sex with him, or did you?
No, this is a whole other different
gotcha.
guy, different situation. I'm just sort of thinking of
this way. Really creeping me out.
Juicy Mouth was not the one, okay, but no, there was this guy who I was seeing. It was a very short period of time, and he was taking me to dinner, and we were good friends and moving into friends with benefits. Okay. So when we got to the benefit stage, benefits were popping, dinners were still going, hanging out was still a thing, and it was great. But then when that turned into is this going to be a real relationship or not? And we decided that it wasn't the relationship that either of us thought it was.
Okay.
I wanted something different. His perspective of it was a little bit different. I said, okay, let's stop this scenario. I don't want to continue with this. We can still be friends, but let's go back to just being friends before the benefits were a factor. And at that point, no more going out, no more gym dates, none of that. Okay. And it was interesting to me because I was like, so were you taking me to hang out and have fun as a friend because you were hoping it would turn into something more?
Oh.
And then when you got more and we discussed what more was, and more wasn't what I wanted, so we stopped that. We couldn't go back to just being friends according to this guy.
Gotcha.
And so then I no longer got those perks, and it made me think. I was like, so then were you paying me for my bedroom activity? Is that really what it came down to for you?
Oh. See, and but I feel like that's courting. Like you were being courted by somebody. That was like back in the day, like royal families, and even in other countries and tribes and things, like you're courted. You are given things and shown things of what your potential lifestyle could be like should you choose to date me. I don't think that was the same as you're doing it for, because you weren't in it for the intention of getting the meals and everything else.
I thought we were just being friends.
Yeah. But
kind of like how you and I, we would go have something to eat. You and I, we could go to entertainment things, you know.
I'm trying to take like you down, girl. Come on, LBP.
Listen, you're not getting the peonies, okay? But my point is as friends, we can still do those things. Now, keep in mind, I wasn't opposed to paying for him. So this isn't just you take me out because we're friends. Right. If we're friends, I'm going to take you out too, because friends do things.
I think that's a totally different scenario. I think it's all it's a different scenario because, again, I think he was trying to court you and you were not opposed to paying. Now, I think the situation is different when one person is opposed to paying and they're doing it for the intention of getting that gift, not because they're trying to date you because they want to date you or be with you, because they want that gift, because they want that meal, because they want that coat or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so the deal with the coat, I was the escort. I was simply there for his company.
I was
is that
funny.
right?
I don't think
is
so.
That what
you accepted.
I gotta reevaluate my life.
You do, and I need you to higher your prices, because the cake that fell apart was not the business with the juice. I mean, juicy mouth in this is a high price as it is. Like, if you're gonna be an escort and you got a juicy mouth,
listen, we
going above the 40 ball.
We evolve. Listen, when I was in my early 20s, that's where it was at for me. Okay, today is a little different.
But you know, but we talk about this, and there's also women who date men who will come and do things for them, like around the house, or they will fix their car. But, you know, there are women who date men who can do services for, you know, like, I don't know, it's a really broad.
So we dating for handymen these days? Like, assemble that TV over there?
I know a few homeowners that would date for a handyman, a yard man, a construction.
I'm done.
A cleaning person.
I mean, cost of inflation is real.
I was gonna say
inflation is real. So I guess
that category. Yeah, because I mean, and if he's cute, then why not?
I feel you.
But see, if I had a yard. If you had a yard.
If I had a yard and it needed some mowing, and I know that I don't have the 150 that you're charging, I might have to invite you on in for some lemonade and discuss them prices.
Some lemonade. Oh, I love it. But I don't know. I think I think we just get a little tricky with the definitions across the board with women and men. But
for sure.
Do you think that it's more women who date for gifts or men who date for gifts, or are there specific types of things that either or date for?
I think that the latter, that there's specific things that either or date for. Now, us being women, I think it's real easy for us to speak on what we date for.
Right.
Obviously we can't really speak to what men are dating for, but I know that there's plenty of men that are dating women, not because they like the scenarios you gave, not because they want to be seen with them, not because they're looking for a long-term relationship with them, but they are getting something from it. Right. May it be sexual favors, may it be monetary items, may it be whatever it is that's suiting their need, even if they are actually enjoying just the conversation of things. Having that person to talk to, they're still getting something out of it, but not wanting to invest in what the other person is hoping to get from them.
Gotcha.
And yeah, men and women do it equally. I think honestly, men and women, we're similar and different creatures.
Right.
The age-old battle is, what's wrong with men, and women be like, well, what's wrong with opposite sex?
Right.
And we all have our own issue that's similar, but for different reasons.
And so I think it's funny you mentioned the friends with benefits. So that's going to be a later topic on our episode, on our season, that we'll be talking about that. So I'm excited for that. But like for example, Diddy and Young Miami, right? They are dating, were dating. I don't even know the status of the relationship right now.
I'm confused.
But we know that at one point, or he still is, was giving her an allowance for being his girlfriend, while he also was dating and clearly had a baby by somebody else.
A whole nother woman,
So then, but they rock for each other. They really ride with each other and for each other in public. And, they make little videos, and she had a sign back at that award show a while back. Like, it's a whole thing. Right. But at the end of the day, she was getting an allowance. So is she dating for the benefits, or do they really like each other, or are they in an open poly?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. As far as those two are concerned, keep in mind they are in a whole different tax bracket than us.
Yeah,
okay, she has her own money. Right. It's not like I think that she's dating for him because she can't afford her own Ruth Chris on a Saturday night. Right. Okay. Now, I think when it comes to whatever he was doing for her financially, may it be giving her money, the allowance, maybe buying her bags or shoes, whatever the cost may be, it's because it was within his budget. It would be no different than a guy today saying, oh, you're out of paper towels at your house? Don't worry, I'm at the store. I can pick that up for you. I mean, it's something, it was nothing.
It ain't tricking if you got it. So he got it.
It ain't tricking if you got it.
Gotcha.
Exactly. It was within his reasons. It was within his means. It was within his budget.
Gotcha.
He didn't go out of his way to drop a couple stacks on her because that's nothing to him.
Gotcha.
So I don't even know that I would say either of them were dating each other out of what they were getting from each other. I think they can get themselves. They don't necessarily need that person.
Okay, so let's dumb it down to like a regular person then. A regular schmegular person who don't got money, maybe is dating somebody that don't have Diddy money, but maybe got some executive director, CEO type. Maybe not even that level. Maybe like just a low level lawyer. I don't know, but maybe just somebody who is at a higher status and pay grade than they are. Would the expectation be that the person that makes more, pays more, does more, or are we saying that maybe the allowance that they give would be just if it's in their budget, like maybe their budget is $500 a month? Like, is there an expectation of that? Because maybe it's in their budget, but then because they're not Diddy Young Miami, it looks different. How does that work?
I think it definitely needs to be a conversation. There was this guy that I know was trying to date me, and he was another yuck mouth scenario.
What is with you and these yuck mouth?
No. He didn't actually have a yuck mouth. Let's be very clear.
My Lord Jesus, he was just, get out of that state.
Another case of I just wasn't into him. But he made really good money. And I caught myself saying, could I date this guy? Because I was thinking he is stable. Okay. He is what stable is. I Zillowed his home. Okay. I know what the mortgage looks like.
You sent me this home. You sent me that home, didn't you?
Nope. This is a different guy.
Oh, you Zillow everybody's home. Gotcha. That's another conversation.
Yeah, I do. I actually do. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm nosy like that. I just want to know what your property costs. But anyway, if I got your address, please believe, then a Zillow look. But yeah, so I knew he made money.
Okay.
I knew that he was actually a retired lawyer.
Okay.
And
retired. How was he older than you?
He is by 16 years. He is my senior by 16 years.
Definitely got to be another show topic. We got to write that one down.
And he I've dated younger too by 16 years. Anyway,
she was going from the cradle to the grave, y'all. I can't. Okay, go ahead. Geriatric and pediatric. Okay, got you. Go ahead, sis.
I'm about equal opportunity. So, so he invited me over. He wanted to cook for me, and I was willing to go have dinner until it started to snow. And then I was like, hey, let's reschedule because I don't want to get stuck. I didn't want to be in a situation
I
where
can't.
I couldn't drive myself home. He's like, well, I got 4 guest bedrooms. You could just stay the night. And I really had to check myself
But
because I
he
realized
wasn't gonna have you one of those guest rooms. He was gonna try to
that
slip
part,
in. Mm-hmm.
that part. And so I really had to check myself. I was like, okay, Nicole, you are only entertaining this guy because he appears financially stable to you. Mm-hmm. And I just had to be really real with myself. And I was like, I'm not going to pursue this because it's misleading and it's unfair to him.
Right.
He's a nice guy. And I knew what he wanted and I knew what I didn't want. So I was like, I'm not going to do this to him. I'm not going to be that girl that goes over, eats this gourmet meal, gets trapped in the snow at your home. And then now we in some situationship that I really don't want. I didn't want it.
I don't know.
I ain't want it.
Okay, so with that being said, and this is kind of off topic but still on topic. So we're talking about, you mentioned like he was stable. He was all the things that you probably wanted in a person, minus the physical attraction. So for
minus the age.
Oh, and
too.
The age too, because he was retired. He's gonna be putting.
But what are we going to do?
We're gonna change his diaper eventually.
Put that being gay on a kneecap.
It could have been like a loving basketball scene where you're rubbing Bengay on each other. That would have been romantical. Mm-hmm.
It's not what I want for myself.
In the snowstorm, in his 4-bedroom house. Yeah, I got it. So, but my question is then, how willing are people to date outside your box? Because you've given 2 scenarios where you were trying to or attempting to date outside your box. And because we as people have we are usually stopped by a physical attraction. Like, if we're not physically attracted to you, you don't even get to do the character background. Like you what they said, you get in the door with physical attraction, you keep them there with the characteristics, right? Personality.
Yeah.
So, but how important is it to take into consideration like those other characteristics? Because outside of being old and needing being gay and not being attractive, how important were those other characteristics for you? Because now you're missing out on probably a really amazing life. I mean, not
honestly,
out, but I'm just
I didn't get that far. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have a chance to really dive into this individual on a deeper level because I ultimately was not attracted. And even though this person offered things that I'm ultimately seeking in a long-term partner, I also had to be true to myself. Like you said, the first step is physical attraction. Right. And where I felt this person was okay, I think I was also intimidated by the level of success because I also felt like I don't have what am I bringing to the plate? What am I offering you?
Gotcha.
What's going to make you want to stay with quirky, weird me? I know what I'm attracted to in you, and it's not physicality.
Right.
And I know that you don't know me. So what you're attracted to is the physical when it comes to me.
Oh, gotcha.
And so when the physical runs out with me, are you still going to be interested in me, knowing that you have levels of success beyond me? You've got travel beyond me. You've got perspective and life and grown children who have graduated college far beyond me.
Gotcha.
So it's sort of like I took all those things that maybe I made a decision for him unfairly.
Okay.
But I was just looking down that rabbit hole like, I'm not going to take advantage of this scenario because of what I can gain from it.
Gotcha.
Because I don't see where this will line up in the long run.
That makes sense. So in thinking about all of this, and we're talking about people who do date for gifts or are being dated for gifts, and what I think the rationale that comes to mind is like, obviously some kind of, and I hate the overuse of the word trauma, like everybody using trauma right now, but it's kind of the key word. Like there's got to be some kind of experience that this person has had in their life that has led them to feel that they need to pursue somebody solely for the purpose of gifts, like whether they were being deprived, that they lived an impoverished lifestyle younger, or maybe
entitlement, or they feel that
that's true, because there's a certain generation of people right now that are super entitled and they have no thought process of work ethic or to earn anything.
Exactly.
I think we're not talking about them. I'm thinking just in general, like people like, maybe somebody was a giver back in the day and then they gave too much. Now they're like, now it's my turn, and everybody else who's not going to give me a gift. But then from the flip side, you got people who put themselves in positions to be the giver. And it's like, is there self-esteem issues? Are there issues with not feeling adequate or valued by another person to feel worthy enough to be in a relationship without having to give them something? Like those
Yeah.
are thought processes that I'm putting together with these two types of individuals. Like, what do you think?
I mean, it depends. I'm not in that scenario,
She's like,
so
I
I don't
went to
even know
school to
how.
color. She says it all the time, y'all. She's a graphic designer, so she tells me like, I went to school to color. I didn't do none of this other stuff. I'm got. Go ahead, girl.
Right. Don't ask me to spell nothing for you. If
I
I send
love
you a
it.
text, you sound it out. All right. You sound that thing out because it's not English. I don't know what it is.
Oh God, it's Nick B.
Um, it's Nick B. That's my own
Yes,
language right
I
there.
love
So I
it.
don't know. What about, I'm gonna throw it back to you. How would
Uh-huh.
you answer that?
Well, I think I kind of did. Like, I think people need to kind of evaluate like why they feel the way they feel about either receiving or giving gifts. Like, and
Hmm.
maybe they don't even care to. I feel like maybe the person that receives the gifts may not even care to evaluate why they're receiving gifts, because of course that's they're on the receiving, they're on the upswing of the relationship, they're on the good side of it, right? They're the ones getting the gifts, and they probably have mastered a plan or a way to generate these types of relationships regardless. So if one doesn't work out, they probably have a way to get this from another person. So I don't
Hmm.
know if a person that's in that stage of their life is actually willing to evaluate and process why they do that or to change it, unless maybe they meet somebody who they really love, and then that would be like another conversation, because then maybe they would have to reevaluate their position in a relationship. But I feel like a
Hmm.
person who is the gift giver should definitely look at their own boundaries, um, because I think they are doing it because they want to be wanted. And so, what is it that you're missing in your life, or that you're feeling inadequate about, that allows you, or that puts you in a position to allow people to use you? And how can you change that? Like, what is it that you can get from somebody that would fill that void without having to give something up? Like,
So, but keep in mind
mm-hmm,
that some people's love language and some people's level of comfort is absolutely giving gifts. Some people
mm,
have validation in knowing
that's
that
true.
in me giving you something makes you happy, which then makes me happy. It's a little self-serving in the sense
That's
that
true.
I enjoyed giving you this gift. I enjoyed going through the thought process of,
Mm-hmm.
would you want this? Do you need this? Will this make you happy? Those sort of things,
Mm.
because I find myself doing that
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
So I think about just the season of giving itself,
yeah.
take the holidays. It's all about kind of gift exchanges and things
Right,
like that.
right.
There's a lot of gifts that you're not asking for anything in return, but simply you enjoyed think buying something
Yeah,
for
true.
someone and it brought you self pleasure. So it's not even so much that you got to reevaluate why you're giving gifts. Some women simply like to pamper and that's how they show their love.
That's true.
And if they're really into someone, even if that person is not into them, even if they're blind to the fact that they're being
Mm-hmm,
completely taken advantage of, it's still them expressing how they feel about that
mm.
person.
That's a
You
good
know,
point.
I think we've got friends that's how they
Yeah,
show their appreciation to that
yeah.
person.
That's true. I just, maybe it's hard for me to move past my own view of it. So we should take this to social media. I feel like
Yeah.
y'all should jump in on this conversation and kind of give us some insight as to why you might be okay with being a gift giver and maybe or maybe not receiving in return. Like, I
Hmm.
think when people think about this, they always automatically assume that they're not reciprocating. They're not getting anything in
Hmm.
return. But maybe the case is that they are getting stuff in return. They're giving too. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this could be a definite good segue into joining our discussions on social media. I think that would be our
Yeah.
gift to y'all, right? Our gift to y'all. We're gonna give y'all that gift
Well,
of continuing this conversation.
yes. Now, how can they reach us again? How can someone reach you
Yes,
so that
so
they can join in on this conversation?
you can find me personally at LaRie on all social media platforms. It's LeighlaRie. It's across the board on all platforms. But you can find Dirty Roses podcast on all platforms as well. Dirty Roses podcast, which is where we're going to share these conversations. And girl, where can they find you, sis?
So you can find me, Nick B, either with the Dirty Roses podcast on all platforms, or you can also find me under Nicole Leigh La, and that's Nicole with the H. Don't forget the H. It's important. Real Nicoles have H's in them, okay?
I'm gonna say she can't spell normally, but she can spell that.
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, I'm there.
Yes, I love it. So join the conversation. We can find our podcast on all major platforms, and we look forward to having this conversation with you. And next week's episode is going to be good. We got some guests, and I cannot wait. So
can't wait.
Join us next week, and we'll get dirty again. Vocal